Hi, everybody. So, welcome to tonight's workshop, MErai Care. We're very excited to show you guys what we've been working on for the past weeks. We hope that you guys do enjoy this workshop and find it beneficial in terms of developing new habits for this upcoming quadmester. And yeah, let's just get started right away with it.
I'm really excited to see how this turns out.
So now introducing myself. So my name is Raneem and I am the workshop host for today. I'm also an ambassador for the MErai team and I'm a grade 11 and I go to Turner Fenton Secondary School. So I can't wait to get to know you guys, and my Instagram is down below my picture right there. So if you have any questions, don't be scared to text me, or you could also email me and I'll be glad to answer. So like I said, we'll be having 3 prizes for today. So we'll be having a little Kahoot game at the end of our little workshop. So do make sure that you pay attention while we have our speakers talking so that you would have the chance to win one of these prizes. And then also make sure that you do have another device handy so that you're not like switching between tabs while you're in the Kahoot. And we would ask you to please name yourself as the same name that you are in this video call so that it would be easy for us to reach out to you if you win, and it would just like be easy for us to communicate with you. And yeah, feel free to turn on your cameras or ask any questions in the chat if you have any questions, and let's get started. So our agenda for today, we'll be having our mental health speaker, so mental health wellness speaker with Lucia. And then we'll be having our physical health wellness speaker with Priya. And then we'll be jumping into our time management speaker. She'll be talking about managing your time with university, managing high school time, and how you can develop skills in high school so that you could be more successful in this next quadmester. And then we'll be jumping into our little Kahoot game with you guys and handing out our prizes. So our first guest speaker, everyone say hi to Lucia. So she is a registered physiotherapist and a yoga teacher based out in Mississauga, and she has an honors Bachelor of Science in Human Biology and a Master of Science in Physical Therapy. Both of them are from the University of Toronto. And she is a big advocate of holistic healthcare and recognizes that you can't achieve good physical health without also addressing your mental health, which I really agree with. And fun fact, she has an Instagram, which is down below, where she runs like a whole Instagram of positivity. So make sure that you do check that out. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I'll leave it up to her now.
Thanks, Raneem. Hi, everybody. Good evening. This is really nice. I'm really honored to be joining this workshop today. The topic of wellness is really dear to my heart, especially the topic of mental health. So let's get right into it. Before we begin, before I go into my content, I actually wanted this to be as interactive as possible, which I know is difficult on a virtual platform like this, but I just wanted to hear a little bit about how everyone that's joined the call today, how everyone's been feeling, particularly maybe to do with your mental health, like what impact has the pandemic, which is going on close to a year now, what impact has that had on your mental health? I put a few bullet points there just to draw some ideas, and maybe this is something that really you haven't brought much awareness to, haven't really put much thought into. So if anyone would like to maybe share a little bit about how they've been feeling, you can maybe unmute yourself and speak just a short little share. Anybody? Exhausted? Yeah. For sure. Tend to lose motivation easily. Yeah, you can type into the chat too, which some people are doing, which I really like. Definitely been lacking in motivation over the past few months, and sleeping has been difficult, and I think a lot of people are sharing those sentiments. Yeah, so same with me, really. I think the perfect way to describe it has the way that I've been feeling anyway is an emotional roller coaster ride, and over the course of the year, I went through just like ups and downs and highs and lows, and just phases of feeling really optimistic and you're trying to make the best of the situation, and then also feeling really low and just no motivation, no energy, and lacking interest in things that I used to enjoy as well, like exercise, talking to friends, things like that. So let me just preface this presentation by saying that that's completely normal, that you may have felt that way, and maybe you may be feeling that way now, and you were definitely not alone. And chances are, if you have felt that way at some point during the past year, then, others are likely feeling the same or going through versions of the same. So, and poor mental health really doesn't have to look like a full-blown depression, right? And it often doesn't really look like that. Sometimes it sneaks up on you a little bit in different ways, like I kind of like listed here. So let's go to the next slide. Next slide, Rini. Perfect, thanks. So I did want to touch a little bit on why mental health is important, but I think everyone joining this call today does recognize they value wellness and does recognize that mental health obviously is important. The poor mental health can lead to decline in physical health. It can also lead to decreased function in all aspects of life. I'm not going to bore you with all the detail. The research is all out there and it's abundant. But mental health, the way that I see it, is just like physical health. Some days in your body you feel great, other days you're feeling really under the weather. And just like our bodies, we do have to check in every once in a while and take care of it, right? Like, everyone knows to exercise their body, eat healthy foods and things like that to take care of our body, but we don't always give the same attention to the mental health. And I think that's something that is improving, but it does, I think, warrant more attention, especially, there's so much different stress factors in our lives these days. So I also wanted to, in the next slide, talk about how that exactly happens, how your body, in a physical sense, get affected by your mental state and stress. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the autonomic nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system is one part of your nervous system. It's an unconscious, involuntary portion of the nervous system that controls various bodily functions. So that means it's a part of your nervous system that you're not really consciously controlling all the time. It's things like heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, right? We're not really consciously thinking about any of these things, just kind of happen in the background, right? And the autonomic nervous system divides largely into two different modes. You have the sympathetic autonomic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response. And then there's the parasympathetic part of the system, which is your rest and digest mode. And some examples of how your body responds to the different modes. So when you're in that fight or flight mode, the sympathetic part of the nervous system, your heart rate, first of all, will go up, your adrenaline will start to kick in, your pupils will dilate a little bit because you want to be able to look far into the horizon. Imagine if you're trying to run away from a bear, for example, you don't want to be able to just look where a foot ahead of you, but you want to look far ahead into the horizon, right? So, and you might sweat a little bit. And then the parasympathetic nervous system, you can think of it as almost like the exact opposite. So you might have blood vessels that are going more to your digestive system, your heart rate will go down, your pupils will actually constrict, and that will allow for more better near vision. So allow you to kind of focus at the task at hand kind of thing. So those are obviously both necessary components of our nervous system. But what tends to happen is actually stress triggers the cascade of stress hormones and actually cause our body to go into this fight or flight mode. And you can, if you can think back to kind of the things I listed under that response, the stress response looks a lot like anxiety, right? Your heart rate goes up a little bit. Maybe you're getting a little bit sweaty, just like how you might feel when you're about to present in front of a big group of people, for example. And stress, it may not always be due to a physical threat. I gave you that example of maybe think about when you're about to when you run into a bear or you're out for a hike and you're deciding whether to fight the bear or run away from the bear, right? But it might also be triggered by something inside our head. So worrying about failing an exam, for example, or doing poorly on an assignment, and your brain doesn't always necessarily know the difference between a real threat and an imagined threat. So your body response will look very similar. And when your body's constantly going into this fight or flight mode, you're not going to have the mental capacity to concentrate and excel at task at hand and in school, for example. But that kind of leads into other things in your life too, into your relationships, other activities that you might enjoy outside of school that you want to really excel and do well at. Okay, let's go into the next slide. So that's kind of what happens in the body. So let's get right into the practical tips on how to achieve better mental health. So breathing, I put that in, all caps lock, 3 exclamation marks. And that's because that's super, super important. And it's one of the most practical, something that you have always accessible within you that you can always do to try to calm your body down. So breathing and regulated breathing, slowing down your breathing and deepening your breath has actually shown to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which I just mentioned in the slide before, that allows your body to go into this mode where you can rest and digest and just be a little bit calmer. And that's actually shown in lots of different research that breathing alone can do that. And breathing is actually one of the main things that people use in mindfulness and meditation. And meditation also there's lots of research to back up the physiological responses and the changes that happen in your body with meditation. And breathing is a really key component of that. So next time you're feeling really stressed or you feel like you're just really overwhelmed with everything, no motivation, just practice getting back to your breath, deepening your breath, and that can go a really, really long way. Next bullet point is prioritizing sleep. So, we talked about fight or flight, rest and digest. Obviously, a lot of the recovery and the good things in our body happen, digestion, all of that thing. A lot of that happen when we're sleeping, right? And your brain also needs that rest to be able to next day take on a whole new day. So, if sleep has been an issue, I think some people did mention in the chat. There's tons of different things that you can try to improve your sleep hygiene, but maybe instead of trying to think about what you can do during the day, maybe think about prioritizing sleep and how much that kind of does for your mental health. Next one is implementing a healthy diet, healthy and a balanced diet. All the nutrition that we take in our body does impact, again, it's going to impact the physiology of what happens inside the body. So all of that can affect mental health. And there's lots of research to show that as well. And depending on what you're eating, if you're eating lots of junk, not to say that you can't kind of like indulge in foods like that every once in a while, but if that's maybe like all you're eating and maybe a lot of the feeling lethargic, low energy might have to do with components of your diet as well. So that's something to consider. Next one is taking advantage of the sun. So I know we haven't had a lot of sun lately, but whenever we have a sunny day, take advantage of that and get out there and enjoy the sun, because there's correlations between changes in weather. Wintertime, people tend to be a little bit more depressed because they're not getting outside as much, not as active, they're not seeing the sun as much. So whenever the sun is out, try to take advantage, get some fresh air. Next one is moving your body in ways that work for you. I purposely didn't use the word exercise because I think a lot of people find that word kind of daunting. Like, I don't really know, I don't like exercise, I don't really know how to exercise, but it's just about finding ways to move your body that works particularly for you. I know Priya will go into that a little bit more after me. And then practicing gratitude is the next one. I really love that one too. There's research that have been done there's lots of research that's been done on the topic of happiness. And when they've tried to figure out the commonalities between people that are generally happy, one of the things that came up is that they're actively practicing gratitude. They're always looking for things that they're grateful for in their life. And that really puts you in a different mindset and puts you in a different mood as well. So that's also really one of my favorites. And the next one is to be kind. It feels nice to be kind to others, but especially to yourself. I think a lot of us today treat ourselves, maybe say things to ourselves in ways that we wouldn't dare to, treat other people around us, family or friends. So remember to just give yourself a little bit more benefit of the doubt next time you're feeling really down and hard on yourself. And the last thing is to stay connected. I know that one is really hard these days because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but find creative ways to stay connected, whether it's virtually, call up a friend. We're so used to texting all the time these days, nobody calls each other anymore, but it's so nice to sometimes hear your friend's voice over the phone. That's something that we don't really do as much these days. And it's just one step closer to feeling a little bit more connected to them, short of being able to see them in person. And that goes a long way as well. The next little slide, I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but I just wanted to illustrate a little bit how easy it is to do a breathing exercise that can really like ground and calm you when you're in a state where you feel like you're in a bit of a crisis mentally. So let's see if we can all just close our eyes for a second. And let's all think about one thing that we're really grateful for today in this moment in time. And as we're thinking about that one thing that we're really grateful for, whatever that is, maybe it's I don't know, your family, friends, maybe it's your pet, maybe you ate something really delicious today and you're really grateful for that. And breathe in, and we're going to breathe in together slowly at the count of 4. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that a few more times together. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. A couple more times. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and everyone open your eyes. So I know that was really, really short, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Breathing exercises, mindfulness meditation, it starts with your breath. And even if you don't have the time, everyone has time to breathe. Yeah, everyone has the time to breathe, slowly and deeply, at least 4-5 breaths every day. And that's a good, really, really good piece to start for your mental health. And that's all I prepared.
Yeah, thank you, Lucia. I'm sure a lot of us benefited from everything, like a lot of stuff that you said. Hopefully you guys kind of learned a little bit about how to manage your breath when you are stressed out. And like some of the tips that she did mention. Also, make sure that you were paying attention to some of the details because it will be on the Kahoot. So do make sure that you are paying attention. So now to our next speaker, we have our physical wellness speaker, so Priya. Priya is a recent graduate from the University of Guelph Humber, and she also achieved an undergraduate degree in kinesiology as well. She also has a diploma in fitness and health, and she's also a certified personal trainer specialist, currently working as a personal trainer. So do check her Instagram out, which is also right under her picture, where she provides a lot of workouts, tips, motivation tips for you guys, and it is like really motivational and positive as well. So now I'll leave it up to Priya, so go ahead.
Thank you, Raneem. So hi guys, today I'll be discussing a few tips and just giving you guys some advice that can help you maintain your physical wellness as high school students. So first of all, what is physical wellness? So there's actually several factors that are involved in physical wellness. Physical wellness in general is a really broad term. So some of these things can include things such as achieving your optimal physical health, your ability to perform daily tasks, achieving optimal nutritional habits, and getting in your physical activity. So the next slide, it talks about the importance of physical wellness. So physical wellness, it obviously benefits you physically. So this can include things such as strengthening your muscles, your bones, enhancing your posture, as well as your improving your cardiovascular system. And being physically active also has several mental health and emotional benefits, as Lucia mentioned earlier. And it helps by increasing your self-confidence, increasing your self-esteem, and acts as a natural stress reliever. So the next slide. So I'll be talking about how physical wellness affects high school students specifically. So obviously with the lockdown and stuff, I'm pretty sure online classes are not as easy as we had expected them to be. But staying active actually does have several benefits in helping you be successful in your classes while also making sure that you have more productive days. So just to start off, I'll provide you guys with some facts or some physical activity guidelines. So according to CSEP, which is known as the Canadian Society for Exercise Physiology, youth ages 14 to 17 years old should be getting at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise or physical activity per day. So this can include aerobic exercises such as running, a light jog, going for a walk, as well as exercises that are going to help to strengthen your muscles and your bones. So doing resistance training, this can be with weights, using resistance bands, or just doing body weight exercises. And CSEP also states that individuals 14 to 17 years of age should be getting at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night. So that being said, exercise does play a huge role in developing healthy sleeping patterns. If you're well rested for class, you're obviously more likely to stay focused and be able to properly retain the information that's being provided. And sitting through online classes on your computer for hours with very minimal movement can actually make it a lot more difficult for you to fall asleep at night. The reason behind this is there's nothing that's sort of like stimulating your body to feel sleepy or feel tired, which is why a lot of people might be complaining about not being able to fall asleep at night or having disrupted sleep. I don't know about you guys, but when the lockdown first started last year, I was just finishing up my last semester. So we transitioned from going to school every single day, going to our placements, work, and then all of a sudden we were just at home on our laptops, just doing online classes. And as soon as lockdown started, I began to realize, okay, like why am I going to sleep at like 3, 4 a.m. and then waking up super late? So I wouldn't have as much of a productive day due to the fact that I wasn't really getting in my movement throughout the day. But yeah, exercise is a great way to regulate your sleeping patterns, and especially if you are someone that is currently experiencing trouble with their sleep patterns, it's a great way to sort of fix that, I guess you could say. But yeah, so another point is that being seated at a desk or a bed, wherever you decide to do your work from, can eventually lead to tension and stress being built up in your muscles or joints, which can then lead to decreased mobility, decreased flexibility, and can also cause muscle pain, muscle ache, as well as possible injuries just by performing daily tasks. So for example, if you're bending down to pick something up, you'll probably feel a lot more tension in your hamstrings or your lower back due to the fact that your muscles are very tight and very stiff. And the last point is exercise acts as a natural stress reliever. So cortisol is a stress hormone that's released in your body when you are feeling stressed. And when you exercise, your body will actually reduce the level of cortisol in your body and start to release what I like to call happy hormones or happy endorphins, which are basically, which is serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. And this basically helps to enhance your mood. So especially as you guys mentioned in the chat box, a lot of you are feeling stressed, really down, I guess you could say. So exercise will help to sort of release your stress and sort of enhance your mood a little bit more. So next slide. I'll be discussing a couple of tips on staying active. So the first one is creating a schedule and following a routine. So this sounds really cliche, I guess you could say, but it's probably one of the most simple yet effective ways to sort of incorporate physical activity into your schedule. So you can either do this at the beginning of the week or beginning of the day, whatever works for you. You can write down, okay, this is what I have to get done today or get done throughout the week, whether it's assignments, running errands, or whatever it is, and sort of just incorporate your form of exercise or movement into your schedule to make it a little bit more easier for you to, I guess, in a way, feel motivated. So once you're prepared for something, you know what's coming next in the day. You'll be looking more forward to it and sort of get it done and get it out of the way. The second one sort of goes hand in hand with the first one, planning your workouts. So I personally, my form of exercise, I like to do weight training, resistance training, all of that kind of stuff. So for example, if I'm working out tonight, or like anytime tomorrow morning, I'll write down, okay, this is what I'm going to work out today. So if I'm doing legs tomorrow, I'll write down, these are the exercises, so squats, lunges, whatever it is. And then I'll write down the sets, I'll write down the reps, just so when the time comes to actually work out, I know what I'm doing and I'm a little bit more prepared. So like I said earlier, the more prepared you are, the chances are you'll actually do it because you know what you're doing. The next one is incorporating physical activity throughout the day. So physical activity and exercise are actually two very similar yet different things. So physical activity is a very is more of a movement that you don't really think twice about. So for example, if you're walking, you're going up and down the stairs, you're carrying groceries into your house, that would be considered physical activity, whereas exercise is something that's a little bit more structured, more specific. So a form of exercise would be, once again, weightlifting or playing a sport, doing swimming, whatever it is. So they're really similar yet also different. So when I say incorporate physical activity throughout your day, basically try to get in your steps, try to get that movement in. If you find yourself sitting down for too long of a time in one sitting, get up, walk around, do a little stretch break, just so you're sort of getting in that movement, even if it's not specifically your whole 60 minutes of exercise during that one time. The next one is joining a gym or finding a personal trainer. So obviously right now it's a little bit difficult to do because we are still in lockdown, but joining a gym gives you more resources. So obviously not everyone is someone who likes to lift weights or run on a treadmill, whatever it is. But gyms do offer a lot of group training classes, whether that's yoga, whether that's stretching or Zumba classes as well. So you have options. So I guess sort of just find out, as Lucia was saying, once again, find out what works for you. So obviously I'm someone that likes weightlifting. Not everyone likes doing that kind of stuff, right? So even if you are someone that wants to go to a gym, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you have to do. You can still join the other group classes. So just find something that works for you. And the next one is personal training. So especially if you are a beginner and you sort of do want to get into that lifestyle of, being healthy and sort of being physically active, but you're having trouble with it, I feel like a personal trainer is a great way to sort of help you get started at least. So you're doing the movements properly, safely, your form is correct, you're preventing yourself from really getting hurt, because I know a lot of the time when you do start off doing workouts, you're probably not doing things properly, and it can lead to future muscle, whether it's injuries, imbalances, whatever that is. At the same time, you have someone that's sort of like pushing you, like being that motivation for you. It's like sort of like having a gym buddy. But yeah, and the last one is finding a sport or just any physically active hobby that you enjoy doing. So once again, it doesn't have to be going to a gym and just lifting weights. It can be whatever type of movement you want to do. So a lot of you guys in the chat box are saying Zumba's great, but yeah, so find something that works for you. And the next slide is a couple of healthy eating habits. So I personally am not someone that believes in specific diets. Like I'll never put myself on a specific diet. I'll never put any of my clients on a specific diet either, only because I feel like it's very important to develop that natural relationship with food. And the thing is, a lot of people, the first one is reduce food restriction. So a lot of people tend to restrict themselves from a lot of food, thinking that, okay, if I cut out sugar completely, no sweet treats, nothing like that, I'm going to get to where I want to be. But 90% of the time, that's probably not how it's going to work, and it can actually do more harm than good. So I'll give you an example of what would happen if you restricted yourself from too much food or from specific foods. So for example, you're starting the week off on a Sunday, you tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to eat any sugar, nothing sweet like that for the rest of the week. Okay. So Monday comes, you're fine. You don't crave anything. Tuesday comes, you're fine. You're not craving anything. Then Wednesday comes and all of a sudden you want something sweet to eat. So that could be a cupcake, a donut, whatever it is. But once again, you told yourself that, okay, I'm not going to eat anything sweet. So you restrict yourself again. Thursday, restrict yourself again. And then Friday comes and Friday is usually okay, like, cheat day or whatever you give in. Once you give in, you'll probably end up eating like 6 to 7 donuts or cupcakes, whatever it is. If you had just given yourself that one donut, that one cupcake on the Wednesday, you would have been, your cravings would have been satisfied, and once again, would do less harm if you had just given yourself that donut on the Wednesday. So yeah, so restricting yourself can honestly lead to stuff that you're basically trying to stay away from. But yeah, so once again, you can eat whatever you want. Just make sure you're mindful of what you're eating and make sure you're eating it in moderation. The next one is a 70-30 rule. So I feel like this is a good way for someone that's trying to sort of find their balance in their diet. So 70% of the time, you'll be eating foods that are nutrient dense. So this is fruits, vegetables, your choice of protein. And then 30% of the time, you'll be eating foods that aren't so dense in nutrients, but still taste really good. So like pizza, cookies, whatever it is. And yeah, the last point is no food is a bad food. Pizza is not a bad food. Ice cream is not a bad food. There's no such thing as a bad food. Like I mentioned before, eat what you want, but be mindful of what you're eating, making sure that your body's getting the nutrients, but also enjoying the food that you're eating. It doesn't always have to be like a sad salad or something, you can incorporate foods that you enjoy. And yeah, so I feel like it's really important to sort of develop that healthy relationship with food. So next slide, we're just gonna do a little bit of like a stretch break type of thing. So we'll do 2 stretches. So I'll just talk a little bit about stretching first of all. So stretching is extremely important, whether that's throughout the day or whether that's before and after exercise. I'll be talking to you guys about 2 types of stretches. So the first one is a static stretch. And the first one's a dynamic stretch. And dynamic stretch is usually done before workout. So this is to sort of get your muscles a little bit loose, sort of ready to work out, increasing your range of motion during your workouts and reducing your risk of injury. So basically, if whatever dynamic stretch you do, you hold that position for 2 to 3 seconds and then perform that for about 10 reps, whereas static stretching comes at the end of a workout and it helps to relax your muscles. And you usually hold it for 10 to 30 seconds for 1 rep. So we're going to do 2 stretches. The first one is a dynamic stretch. And basically, so I know a lot of you, when you're doing your online classes and stuff, or you're working from home, whatever it is, obviously you're going to tend to build up stiffness in your back if you are just sitting on a chair all day long. So the first one is, let me just back this up. The first one is basically put your arm across your waist over here. You're going to reach your arm over and you should be feeling it right over here. So it's a latissimus dorsi stretch, which is a muscle in your back, and you're going to hold for 2 to 3 seconds and switch sides. 1, 2, 3, switch sides again, switch again. I think that's 4. We'll do 6. And last one. 6. Okay, perfect. And the next one we're going to be doing is a wrist flexor stretch. So basically, you're going to put your palm out in front of you like this, fingers facing up. And this would be considered a static stretch, the one we're about to do. And you're sort of just going to push your fingers back a little bit, and you're going to hold that for 10 seconds. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, One. Okay. And one thing you really want to remember when you're doing stretches is it should feel like mild tension, no pain. So you don't really want to overdo it. If you are experiencing pain, either one, refrain from doing the stretch, or to try to reduce how far you're sort of pushing back. So if you start to feel pain, sort of let it release a little bit. And also, I was going to say one more thing. Oh yeah. So on my Instagram, I actually posted not too long ago a little stretch break video, which consists of a bunch of stretches that you can easily do, whether it's from your desk or wherever you are. I specifically made it for people who are working from home or working from your laptops. And I guess that includes you guys as well, because you are doing online classes. So if you want, you can check that out as well. But yeah, that's everything I have to say. And if you guys ever have any questions or anything, my Instagram is listed there as well. I've actually worked with high school students before, Central Peel Secondary School. I don't know if any of you guys are from there. But yeah, so if you guys ever need any advice or any questions, then feel free to DM me. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Priya. I'm sure a lot of us could also relate to a lot of things that you've said. If you guys do have any questions, please go to her Instagram. We'll also list all speakers' Instagrams in the end, so check them out. She is a personal trainer, like I said, so she will be pretty helpful for you. But yeah, moving on to our next speaker. She's Marlene. So Marlene is in her 3rd year at McMaster University. She's also studying kinesiology. And if you'd like to contact her, you could also check her Instagram, which is right below her picture. So yeah, I'll just hand it over to Marlene.
I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay, perfect. So, hi everyone, my name is Marlene Okel and I'm in my 3rd year at McMaster University studying kinesiology, and I wholeheartedly believe that pineapple belongs on pizza. Now that we got that out of the way, I'm here to talk to you about the differences between high school and university or post-secondary and give you some tips and tricks to help you out. So I'm going to start off by asking you guys some questions. So first, who else believes that pineapple belongs on pizza? So you can so just type in the chat, say like yes or something like that, or if you want to put your little hand emoji on. Okay.
Yeah, what?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm just kidding about the whole pineapple on pizza. I just had a technical difficulty. Okay, next, please raise your hand if a teacher ever came up to you in high school and asked if you needed help. Or type in yes in the chat. Okay, raise your hand or type in yes if you ask a lot of questions during class, after class, or before class. And raise your hand or type in the chat if a teacher ever stayed behind after class with you to help you understand information. So in high school, there's a lot of, in high school you always have sorry. Okay. So in high school, you always have a lot of eyes on you. And what I mean by that is there's always help available right at your fingertips. If you have a question, you can always go to your teacher and they will sit down and explain to you everything. There's also help available in university, but it's a little bit different. So in order to get help, you have to put it in that initiative to receive that help. So in high school, I would have teachers come up to me asking me if I need help or if everything was good all the time. But in university, no one was asking me if I understood the content or if I need help. And I would also be the type of person who literally asked 1,000 questions after class. But I realized I couldn't do that in university because the profs don't have time to answer 1,000 questions. But because there's also a lot of other students asking questions as well. So instead, I would have to go either book a time in your professor's office hours, set a meeting with the teacher's assistant, or go to group study sessions. And even right now with online schooling, my teachers have optional question and answer sessions for you. So there are also many options for you to find. So there's many options for you to find help. So for example, in my first year, I took a calculus course, and anyone who knows me knows that I hate calculus, I'm horrible at math, and I can't do it. And I was doing really bad in the class, and I needed help. But with something like math, my prof just can't sit down with me for 2 hours, explain to me everything. So I had to go out and find my help on my own. And I did. I asked around, I searched it up, and I found out that there was a math help session on Thursday nights where there'd be a bunch of teaching assistants that can help me. So almost every Thursday, I had to make the effort to go to the help sessions and get the help that I needed because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. And that's okay. It's okay to ask for help. And if anything, it's encouraged to ask for help because they want you to succeed, and they just need to make sure you just need to put that first step in that. Another difference that I found between high school and university is how they test you. In high school, I felt they focused more on retention and memorization, but with university, it's highly focused on application. And that changed everything for me. This is because in high school, I would get really good marks, but I would just literally study every night, the night before the test, memorize everything, and I would ace the test. But for university, it doesn't work like that. Not only do you have to memorize everything, but you have to understand the content and understand how to use and apply that information, and that's how they take it one step further. And that's why a lot of people's marks drop from high school to university, because they aren't used to that kind of testing, and I was one of those people. I would get really good marks in high school, but when I got to university, I struggled a little bit to get good marks because my whole style of studying changed, and it was because it was based on memorization. So I had to change my study habits and try to find something that worked for me, and it took a lot of trial and error to figure that out. So I want you to start thinking about what kind of studying works for you. Is it writing everything down, typing, making mind maps, making cue cards, or even just explaining to a friend? Everyone is different and everyone learns differently. So what works for you might not work for your friend, and vice versa, because everyone is different. But you might have some friends in university who are able to pick up the content a little quicker, or might not have to spend as much time studying as you. And that's okay, because everyone's brain works differently. So for example, in my group of friends, some of them are able to understand and pick up the content from the class a lot quicker than I would be able to. And that used to discourage me a lot because I wasn't able to do that. So I tried to copy them and how they learned. But that didn't work for me. But when I found what worked for me, I saw my grades get better, and I learned that everyone has their own journey and their own way of doing things. And there's no right or wrong. The only thing that matters is that you work hard and you find the best study method for you, and you focus on yourself rather than trying to copy your friends' methods just because their marks are good. Also, the people you study with can also have a big impact on you, and they can either motivate you and help you do better in classes, or demotivate you. And this is because they don't always study the same way as you do. And that's completely fine as well. That doesn't mean you guys can't be friends. I can't study with some of my best friends because we study differently and we just end up distracting each other, and it just doesn't work. But after we're done studying, we go out, grab lunch together, and hang out. So it's okay. It's okay to not study with them. You have to focus to what's best for you. And if studying without them is best for you, don't feel afraid or don't feel bad to tell them that. You're still going to stay friends, but at the end of the day, your education is the most important thing. So to continue, I want to talk to you guys about time management and some important skills and habits that will help you with this, that you should develop and use in university or post-secondary or even in high school for right now. First of all, I just want to mention that time management is very important at university, and this is because you will constantly get things thrown at you from all different directions. But if you make sure you manage your time wisely and properly, it will be a lot easier to handle. So first, I just want to ask you guys a question. So what do you guys think are some things that you can do that will help you with time management? You can just type in the chat if you want. Write things down is good. Alarms, yeah? Planners, make a schedule, perfect. Calendars, yeah. Okay, perfect. You guys basically hit on everything. So first, I have set goals. Set goals for yourself every day and make a list of everything you want to accomplish. Making and following a task schedule helps reduce anxiety, and as you check things off your to-do list, you can see that you're making progress, and this will make you feel better about yourself and want you to continue doing work. You'll make yourself feel like, ooh, I can do this. Next, prioritize your work. So mark tasks based on importance and urgency. So you can focus on things you need to get done right away, then focus on the rest later. Third, set a time limit to complete a task. Setting time constraints for completing tasks helps you be more focused and efficient. Doing this might also open your eyes to seeing if you have enough time to do everything that you wrote down. And if you realize you might not have time, you noticed it early enough where you can delegate some things around in order to make everything work. Next would be take breaks between tasks. Doing a lot of tasks without a break makes it harder to stay focused and motivated. So allow for some downtime to help clear your head and refresh yourselves. And this is really important for online schooling as well, because we all know that sitting in front of your computer, staring at a screen all day, gets tiring and depressing. So it's important to take those little breaks, walk around, stretch a little, just like our previous speaker was talking about, and get your body moving. Just because from kinesiology, I learned that when you're sitting down all day, it takes such a toll on your back, your body, your neck, and just everything in general. So it's very beneficial to add stretches in your daily routine. And another important habit that you guys should do, which will also help with time management, and I find super important, is to write everything down that you need to do that week, that calendar, in a place where you're able to look at it every day. This becomes a really good reminder of what you have to do and what you have to prepare for and how much time you have to do those things. And it keeps you on track with your schedule. Just to show you how important this is, just last week, I forgot to plan out my schedule, and I completely forgot that I had 3 assignments due on Friday, and thank God I found out on the Tuesday, because I had time to do all of them, but I completely forgot, and it was so bad. So make sure you write everything down, and this will make you feel more prepared, eliminate these possibility of surprises like I just had. Not 100%, you still might have like 90% that might pop, like about 90%, 10% might pop up. But so make a calendar, look at your syllabus, fill out everything you have to do. And lastly, do not procrastinate. Trust me, you don't want to do this. I have procrastinated so many times in my life, and I hate myself every single time when I do it. But the good thing is, if you manage your time properly, this will not happen. And all your friends will be jealous of you because you got your life together. So finally, before I go, I just want to mention one last thing that I find really important. So throughout university and throughout life even, you're going to experience many hardships. We're all going through a hardship right now. But no matter how overwhelming everything is or how hard times are, you have to keep pushing and moving forward. And trust me, I know it's easier said than done. There has been so many times where I couldn't do it. I couldn't handle the stress, the anxiety, the pressure, and I just want to say like, F it, I'm done. But when that would happen, I would call my friends or call my sister and rant to them about everything. I got it all out of my system, and I got it all in my system, took a deep breath, and took it one step at a time. If you're ever overwhelmed because you have so many things you need to do and you're freaking out, call someone, write everything down that you need to do, and take it one step at a time. It may sound simple, but it works. Just start off with the simple things, and as you go through your list, you'll slowly start to feel better. And now I'm going to leave you with a quote that has helped me, and it is from a very philosophical fish, and that is, just keep swimming. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Marlene. Just about to share my screen. Okay, there we go. So I hope you guys have been listening to all of the 3 speakers. Like I said earlier, all their Instagrams are right here, so you can feel free to take a screenshot or save it. So if you have any questions, do reach out to them. I'm sure they'd be happy to answer you guys. But yeah, we'll be moving on to the, I'll just give you like a few seconds to take a screenshot or do what you need to do. Okay, now we'll be moving on to the Kahoot game. So like I said, just a little reminder, friendly reminder to name yourself the same name that you've named yourself for the video, just so it's easier for us to communicate with you when you do win.
Right, congratulations to the 3 winners. We're very glad that you guys did enjoy this Kahoot game. We hope everybody had fun and found this workshop beneficial. And in terms of your prizes, look out in your emails. It'll be emailed to you guys within the next 24 hours. So yeah, congratulations to those people. And I also wanted to thank our 3 guest speakers who did a phenomenal job presenting and bringing together such a good presentation for us. They did an amazing job and put a ton of effort into making this workshop possible. And also shout outs to Kelly and Farida, who helped a lot with creating this workshop from beginning to end. So yeah, it wouldn't have been possible without everybody who took part of this. And yeah, this would officially bring an end to our workshop for tonight. So thank you everybody for showing up. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email us. We'll be really glad to reply to you, and we'll be hosting more events like this in the future, so also keep an eye out.